What's up, SteelersNation? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody is well. Y'all see this? This is a zip tie on my microphone. The little handle here decided to break. Haven't had time to reorder another one because it broke today. So look at what we had to do. Zip tied it, and we're going to make it happen for the night. No big deal, right? Y'all see, I keep it real with you guys at all times. But what's happening, everybody? Actually, let me push up the mic a little bit. There we go. Hopefully it doesn't fall on us, and I'll get that fixed as soon as I can. Let me get it out of the camera, though. Hold on, guys. Let me fold this down. There we go. So it's out of the picture. But how's everybody doing, man? Hope everybody had a good night. Last couple nights, I know, Sunday night was a tough one, but I hope you guys had a great start to your week on yesterday and hope you had a good day today as well. But here we are, and welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement, aka the virtual Hinesville. What is happening, Captain? Let's get right into it, guys. Let's say hello to the early commenters. Then I'm just going to give you my quick thoughts, man, on the Tomlin news as far as, the Tomlin's presser, the things that I pulled from that. And then I want to get right into the phone calls, man. I want to make this, about the phone calls for having many people call. And then, I'll give my final thoughts at the end of the show as far as, what I think or what I anticipate in the offseason. And we got a lot of time to talk about this, guys. Like I said, we got a lot of shows that I'm gonna try to dive into the content a little deeper this year, just bring some different things in the off season. We got the Steel Table 2021 season wrap up. We'll probably do that next Tuesday. And then I invite the ladies of the chat, whenever you all want to come in and give your recaps as well, I invite you all so we can do a ladies Steel Table. And a lot of content coming in terms of, different variety on Tuesday. And we'll see if I can work in, some other types of things here and there. But anyway, let's say hello to Rajon39, Mr. Winningham, Jim Emmon, Relfax, Brent Fox, extended family member, Brian Williams, The Arch Steeler, 937. Charlie Brown, hello, Miss Lanisha, how you doing this evening? Thank you for coming by. We always appreciate you, as well as Miss Debbie. Hello, Miss Debbie. Thank you for coming by. Always appreciate you. You know that. And I'm definitely speaking to you two ladies in particular, man. I know you guys talk offline. I know all of you lovely ladies speak to each other via text, email, or what have you. So let me know. Definitely want to get you all on for the ladies segment. So, we can hear from you all. I know Destiny has called a few times. I think Sade has called in a few times, but we definitely want to give you, your dedicated show because, the fans love it, right? We want to hear from you all. Tony B, Brandon Cheney, Provoked Thoughts, The Real Missy. Hello, The Real Missy. Thank you for coming by and hanging out with us tonight. Always appreciate that. Wide Diggy in the building. Who else we got? Ollie Howard, Zori Rivers, Dominique, JJ Walker, Football Mind 02, Sean Manahan. We got Yep in the building. Hello, Miss Sade. How you doing, Sade? Appreciate you coming through as always. Always love the lovely ladies in the chat. Jordan Mid, and I guess we'll end it right about there. I'm sorry if I missed anyone, but like I said, I'm going to dive right into my thoughts, man, so we can get this thing rolling and not prolong the show but so much. So let me get to my notes, guys. And if you guys hang with me, man, hold in there with me until the end. I am going to show one play from the Chiefs game via the All 22. And again, you guys that are extended family members, I had a hunch that the Chief footage would be out a little earlier for me, so I didn't post an All 22 video for you guys before yesterday because I had a feeling the Chiefs footage would be out there. So that will be coming your way. I believe I will have that done for you tomorrow. And what I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to just find specific plays and we'll spend time on those. But I will have that coming to you. Should be tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So look out for that. But tonight, at the very end of the show, I'm going to show one play One play. All right. Just one play. And the reason why I'm doing that is you guys obviously, I've told you guys several times, I'm unable to monetize that content. So if we sneak it to the end of the video, if I have to, I can cut that piece of it off and, you don't miss the whole video experience. So if you hang in there until the end, you will see that one play. So let's get into the Tomlin stuff, man. And it's a lot of stuff that Tomlin did mention today. I'm just going to talk about the things in particular that I pulled from it. If there's anything that I missed that you guys wanted to hone in on, definitely mention that when you call in or, put it in the chat later on when I get to the chat section. So first thing he said was he's optimistic about Matt Canada and what he's capable of. Okay, let's spend some time on that really quick. I know not everyone has been a Matt Canada fan. I think most of us in this call here tonight, show, whatever you want to call it, most of us have had our criticisms of Matt Canada, right? Some people have severely hated Matt Canada, while others have been a little more compassionate. Others have been a little more forgiving, understanding the situation. Where I've been with it, and I'm still going to stick to this, have not been completely satisfied with Matt Canada's performance, at least what I believe his job is. Again, none of us know the nitty gritty. None of us know if Ben calls plays X amount of time, Canada calls plays X amount of time. Tomlin has influence on both of those gentlemen any given time. We don't know. All we can do is judge people based off of what their role is perceived to be. So if he is the perceived offensive coordinator, we can only judge him off of that. So based off of that, I have not been completely satisfied with him. Reason being, well, hold on, let's pause. We have a donation. So round of applause to Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer says, Sim, I wonder your thoughts on Keith Butler retiring and Kenyon is happy. Who you think would be a good replacement? Well, hold on. We'll get to that in a moment. I'm definitely going to talk about that in just a moment. All right, just a moment, because it's one of my list items. So I will address that when I get to the list item, and it'll be coming up really, really soon. But definitely I'm going to address that. So back to Matt Canada, guys. Listen. Was not completely satisfied with his performance. And the reason why I say that is I still feel that, life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade. You know what I'm saying? You got to make the best out of what you have. And I don't think, from what I see, I don't think we utilize our personnel, quarterback included, to their strengths. I think what actually happened was what Matt Canada actually told us at the beginning of the season. Remember that. I keep saying it. I've said this several weeks, but I feel like I have to remind us sometimes. He said, and I quote, I'm going to run the plays that Ben Roethlisberger is comfortable with. So, that being said, some of this, I'm sure, was influenced by Big Ben. Also, I'm still going to say, well, you're the offensive coordinator. Let's say said thing isn't working. Then it's up to you to infuse the things that will work, or at least have a better chance at working. So, was not completely satisfied with Matt Canada, but I am willing to allow him to come back if he, so desires to. Because as we all know, in the college ranks, Matt Canada has moved around quite a bit. So who knows if he wants to stay. But assuming that he wants to, I don't have a problem having Matt Canada return, and let's see what he can do with a different quarterback. Remember, I said that. I'm not going to judge him specifically until he's working with a quarterback that's not Ben Roethlisberger. No slight on Ben Roethlisberger, not a shot at Ben Roethlisberger, but Ben Roethlisberger had been doing him for 17 years, right? And even if you don't want to go back that far, you can at least say he has been used to doing what he does for the last 8 or 9 years. Even when Todd Haley was there, he developed this newfound Ben Roethlisberger, ball out quick, take your deep shot. That's been him. So we wasn't going to expect that to change much when Matt Canada was the quarterback's coach that got elevated to offensive coordinator. He was already familiar with each other. I'm sure you guys weren't expecting wholesale changes. So that's the reason why, and that's why I read into what Tomlin said. Key word, what he's capable of. Key words. right? Let me read that to you again. Mike Tomlin says, I am optimistic about what Matt Canada is capable of. Listen to what he's saying. That sounds like the future. That sounds like in a roundabout way he understands why the offense was what it was this year. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. I'm making an educated guess there. Let's move on. The next thing. He said they are operating under the assumption that Ben Roethlisberger is retiring. I think that's a safe assumption. I don't think Ben has the victory lap that he had after the Cleveland game, and the tears in his eyes, and I don't think he behaves that way if he intends on coming back. Now, listen, it's always a possibility that maybe he gets the bug and he wants to continue to play, but it's safe to say that he is retiring, or at least safe to say that he is no longer going to be a Steeler quarterback. I would much rather him retire for his own sake. Listen, you did what you did. You won the Super Bowl twice. There's nothing else left for you to prove. You're older. You're going to be 40 this year. It's like, go ahead and get out, man, while you can, while some of those injuries can at least heal and you can have some years without pain, because the way Ben Roethlisberger's body has been broken down over 18 seasons, I feel for him in the next 10 to 15 years. It's going to catch up to him. So if I was him, go ahead and get out now while you can enjoy quality of life. You know what I mean? You have nothing else to prove, sir. Now, he did say neither Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins would be categorized as day-to-day starters. I like that. Let me tell you why I like that. Mike Tomlin and pretty much most of the people in the Steelers organization on that level, your Kevin Colberts of the world, they generally are not going to outright tell you what they're doing. They give you a peek for those of you who can see it. For those of you that can kind of use your third eye, read between the lines, they give you a peek. Mike Tomlin has been saying all season, he's talked about mobility. A lot of the season he's talked about, once we kind of assumed that Ben Roethlisberger would retire, reports were coming out that Mike Tomlin would rather not go into 2022 with a rookie. He'd rather have a veteran. So to hear him actually say that Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins are not categorized as day-to-day starters, that's letting you know right there, competition will be amongst them. Round of applause, man. We got a donation from Mastro Fresh West. That's either Mastro or Maestro. Round of applause. I appreciate the donation. So, again, not categorized as day-to-day starters. I like it. That means there will be a new quarterback in the room. Who's it going to be is the question. Is it going to be a draft pick? Is it going to be a free agent? We all have to wait and see. But again, I'm going to stick to what I said. I feel, and I quote, if the Steelers pass on a quarterback in free agency and they draft a quarterback to be another man in that room, Mason Rudolph, in my opinion, will be the starter in 2022, if that turns out to be the case. So remember what I'm saying. If they do not draft a free agent, what am I talking about? I said draft a free agent. If they do not sign a free agent, so if they don't sign some of these guys who are perceived to be the free agents, and I say perceived because I don't really know. I'm just going off what people say. I know Jameis Winston. I know Jacoby Brissett. I believe, what's my man's name? Jimmy G, Carson Wentz. People are saying Derek Carr, but I believe Derek Carr is under contract. But some people are believing that they're going to part ways, him and the Raiders. I don't know. So whoever it ends up being, because I don't know all of them. If the Steelers do not sign one of those guys, and they draft a guy, Mason Rudolph will be your 2022 starter to begin the season with. That's just my estimation. But I definitely like hearing them say that they don't categorize either one of those guys as day-to-day starters. Is it motivation for them? I don't know. But I like hearing them say that because what have we heard before? What have we been hearing before about Mason Rudolph? They view him as a number one. He has potential. You're right. That's all we had been hearing from both Tomlin and Colbert. But now Tomlin openly says, as I sit here today, these guys are not categorized as day-to-day starters. That's cool with me. Next up, let's see. Haskins. I'm reading the wrong line. Here we go. Mike Tomlin also said he wouldn't be surprised about any staff changes. Now, I thought that was telling for a couple different reasons. Are there people that he assumes will be retiring, like Keith Butler? And I'll talk about that here in a moment. Or is it giving us some insight as far as who really makes the decisions in terms of the staff? Now, I would like to think that Mike Tomlin has a lot of control over that, right? It's his staff. I would hope that the Rooneys and Kevin Colbert all allow Mike Tomlin to pick his staff. But we really don't know because we all know, most of us know anyway. We remember the history with Dick LeBeau and Keith Butler and that whole fiasco. That wasn't a Mike Tomlin thing. That was an organization thing. So it does make you wonder how much influence the organization has on these hires and the staff, as well as the GM. But maybe he's just alluding to Keith Butler because, again, what he did say is he kind of talked more like, if you read between the lines, that Matt Canada would be back and Keith Butler is likely to retire. Now, I don't know if there's an official statement out there. Let me check because I did see a couple people on social media basically saying Keith Butler is retiring. And that could just be speculation based off of the same thing I'm basing it off of, what Mike Tomlin said in his presser. But let me see if there's an official announcement. I don't think there is. I don't think there was. At least I don't see anything. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything official. And it could be. And you guys let me know. And I'll look over in the chat here in a moment. Maybe you guys saw something official. I see y'all going back and forth about Tomlin again. I tell you, man, I'll let y'all have that because, again, what was very clear in today's presser is Tomlin's not going anywhere. So, you all can waste your energy, wishing him out of there. Fine. It's not going to happen. I will address that when we have another coach. But it's not going to happen. Okay, Kenyon says no announcement. I didn't think so. So, yeah, listen, it's likely, it sounds like, again, if you listen to what Tomlin was saying, he was kind of giving you the tea leaves. It sounds as if Matt Canada will be retained and Keith Butler will retire. And if I remember correctly, I think Butler is in his last year of his contract anyway. So, great. And then, the donator, I think that was that Shadow Slayer? I think Shadow Slayer was the one that asked, who would you replace him with? I don't know, man. One would make you think that they're probably going to look internally because the Steelers have seemed like they've done that traditionally over the last, let's say, 4 or 5 years in terms of position hires. We saw it happen with the offensive line, when Charette took over. They did bring in Clem, but we saw that Sean Charette was able to just take the position, right? We saw Keith Butler went from the linebacker coach and, was the defensive coordinator. We saw all of that. You know what I'm saying? And right now you're probably going to see CMO, as they call him. Chris Morgan is probably going to end up being the offensive line coach. So it's Matt Canada. We just saw Matt Canada go from quarterbacks coach to the OC. You see what I'm saying? So the Steelers seem to have a history of, internally hiring guys. So we'll have to see. And I think if they do that, then, to me, it sounds like it's going to be Terrell Austin. That's probably the more logical choice. I'll say this. I don't know if I can identify who I would want it to be, but I'm open to all options, bro. All options. Everybody, any of those coaches who are out there, who knows if he would even want to do it, but I'd even take a Rex Ryan at this point for a defensive coordinator, because y'all remember, how potent Rex Ryan was as the Ravens D coordinator. I'd take anybody like that. Any of these guys, man, who want to get into the fold and would be great. Would be great. But, I don't really know who the candidates are, so it's hard for me to say who I would take. I'm just not up to speed in terms of coaches and things of that nature, who would be available, yada, yada, yada. Let's see. The next thing I have on my list here, and he did say, speaking of Butler, he said that him and Butler had mentioned 2021 being his last season anyway. See, again, Tomlin is giving you those tea leaves, so that's more than likely going to happen. Mike Tomlin also said that J.C. Hassenauer ended up being the best option at center towards the end of the season. And I think a lot of us knew that. But again, guys, let me give you the business side of it. They weren't going to pull the trigger but so fast on Kendrick Green because he was a draft pick, a third-round pick, but still, he was an investment. And what you don't want to do, again, you hear all the organizations, a lot of organizations say this. You don't want to ruin a guy's mentals right away. You want to at least allow them to play through it a little bit. And then, maybe the Steelers waited a little too long and they hung with him a little too long, but it was good to hear Mike Tomlin just come out and say, yeah, man, towards the end of the season, Hassenauer was, a better option at center. So that just lets me know. And then again, Tomlin said again today, he says Kendrick Green has potential position flexibility. So now maybe we can read into the reports or the suggestions of him being at guard, and I think Ben Roethlisberger kind of, spearheaded that when he said that he think he would be a phenomenal guard. Y'all remember that? Now I know us, all of us, the fans and all that was saying, man, you should move him to guard. That was just us giving us our thoughts. But on a global scale or a higher level, when Ben Roethlisberger said that he thinks Kendrick Green would be a phenomenal guard, that's letting you know right there that the conversation was being had. And again, for Mike Tomlin to say that, we think Kendrick Green shows position flexibility. He even went on to say this was one of the things that attracted him. They was attracted to him because of flexibility. So, excuse me. I think that further proves, hold on guys, give me a sip of water. I think that further proves an opinion that I had earlier. Remember when I said I think the reason why they chose Najee and Freiermuth, not only were those, positions that you could say were of need, but I think, again, they were the best players available in prime positions. And I think they just rolled the dice and figured, look, if we don't hit on a center this year, we can always come back and address it. I think that's kind of the way they went. With him saying today, again, his position flexibility was what made us attracted to him. Maybe from a business calculation standpoint, they figured, look, if he doesn't work at center, we can still utilize his talents at guard. And maybe they figured they'll go in the next season and get a center. I mean, believe it or not, things like that happen, guys, when you're talking about sports and GMs and coaches thinking, 2 and 3 years ahead. I don't know for sure. I'm just saying. That's probably why they did that. Maybe should you have grabbed Creed Humphrey? Sure, that's arguable. That's debatable. But when you look at the players that they drafted, I don't think you can be upset with those players. You could just say, man, I wish they would have addressed this position earlier, but you can't be upset at the two guys that they drafted ahead of drafting Kendrick Green. So that's just my thoughts. And then here, one other thing here. Tomlin mentioned, again, the importance of mobile quarterbacks. He has been saying this and saying this and saying this all through this season. He said it again. And he said not only just us, he basically said that look around. This is where the game is going. So obviously they'll be looking for a guy that has mobility. Does that make it harder for Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins, perhaps. I mean, look, we saw Mason Rudolph take off quite a few times this season when he played and picked up some yards. Was that his way of showing that he can be mobile? I don't know, right? You know, I already saw that CBS or one of them has mocked Malik Willis to us. I mean, it's a lot of options out there. Now, again, if you're talking about free agents, now I can see why people are probably saying Marcus Mariota. Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, it's just shining a light to me on a clear direction that the Steelers would probably be looking to go in. You know, I would be very shocked if they do not invest in a quarterback, whether that's free agency or draft, that doesn't have some real mobility. I mean, I'm not talking Lamar Jackson. I'm not talking Kyler Murray. But you need a guy that can be a Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, maybe even a Josh Allen. You know what I mean? Or maybe even a Justin Herbert. You know, just somebody who can move. And I'm sure they're going to be looking at that. And those are your tiers. I guess you could say those are your tiers as far as the players. Look at all of those pieces. And again, I don't think it's a Lamar Jackson type. I think it's more of a takeoff if I need to type. But we'll see. A couple other things I wanted to mention really quick, man, and then we'll get into the phone calls. The second run of the game was very interesting. And it's not a significant play, but this is just giving you proof, guys, why I don't react immediately after a game as far as what I thought happened on a play. It's because when you go back and look at it, the very second run of the game, remember we started the game, we handed the ball off to Najee. He got 2 yards. We handed the ball off to him again. He lost 2 yards. But on that play, man, when I watched it on the All-22, the Chiefs sent 6 people, right? Middle linebacker came free, untouched, because they sent more people than we could block. Najee attempted to bounce it outside. Chiefs contained it very well, and we lost 2 yards. And the only reason why I'm bringing up that very simple play is because this is just going to show you guys, man, sometimes things ain't exactly what you think it is, right? I'm not making an excuse for Najee or the offensive line, but I'm merely just pointing out, when you look at that in real time, you're like, see, we ain't got no blocking. See, that sorry offensive line, that's probably everyone's reaction, right? But when you go back and look at it, you be like, oh, well, that play had 0 chance. 0. Inside backer comes clean. They sent 6. So the extra man came clean as a whistle, and the play was doomed. So, you know, it's always interesting when you watch the game from that perspective, because you can really see what happened. Let's talk Deontay Johnson really quick, man. You know, you guys have heard me continue to say that I think that he is a number 1 receiver. However, I do think Deontay Johnson is the Steelers' number 1 receiver. I think Deontay Johnson has the potential to be a number 1 receiver because of his talent. But I have to admit, it's hard to pay him the money that he's probably going to command when he has these drops on his resume. I mean, did Deontay Johnson clean his drops up a bit in 2021? I think he did. Seems like he started to, you know, it started to rear its ugly head here in the last few games. But he didn't have as many drops this season. He had reduced it significantly until about the last 4 games or so. He had 2 crucial drops in this past game. You know, even when I looked at that 2nd and 8 play, or was it 3rd? No, it was 2nd and 8. I mean, it's so clean. And again, I know someone mentioned in the chat after the game, you know, maybe Deontay is afraid of contact and all that. Even on that one, there's nobody close to him that's going to be able to lay the boom. I mean, he does his jab to the outside, come right back in. Ben hits him right in stride. He drops it. If he catches that, he's probably easily going to pick up the 8 yards, even though the backer is right there in the middle, but he's not close enough to him. He's going to catch it and turn up, and that could be a pretty decent gain if he outruns the corner who's already behind him. But on that 3rd and 2, though, That was the killer. That was the backbreaker. And see, those are the things, man, that, listen, when you negotiating, you think they're not going to bring all that up? And I'm not talking about Coach Tomlin because he's not a part of the negotiation. I'm talking about maybe Colbert, the Rooneys. These are the type of things they're going to bring up when they sit down with you as a player and your agent and say, look, we want to pay you and we'll pay you handsomely, but, you know, I don't know if we want to pay that top 10 receiver in the league money because there's been crucial times where we couldn't depend on you. It's going to be interesting, guys. That's going to be very interesting. But that's my take on Deontay. I definitely think he could be a number one. It's clear. Look at the amount of receptions this kid had this year. Look at his route running, his overall talent. Deontay Johnson is a serious problem. But I think it's going to get tricky, man, in the offseason, depending on what he's asking for. Can you trust him? Juju's name is going to come up. This is going to be interesting. And I'm not talking about Juju as a number one receiver. I'm just talking about what he is to the team, his value, him as a person, his commitment, his reliability. And Juju is trying to come back, and Deontay is trying to come back, which both of them have said they want to stay in Pittsburgh. This is going to be a very interesting tug of war. You know, it's going to be interesting. Round of applause to Luis D for the donation. He says, Canada play calling made a guy like Haley, who had fans waiting for him outside the stadium with pitchforks, a great OC. Should Steelers consider going after Honey Badger to play alongside Minkah? Whoa. The Honey Badger? I didn't know he was a free agent. Whoa. Now you got me thinking here. Honey Badger is a free agent. The question is going to be definitely how much is it going to cost for him to be signed. Remember, we got to sign Minkah too. So, would I like to see somebody of his caliber play with Minkah? Sure. It's so funny, man, now that I quote unquote cover the Steelers, I think from a business perspective, I probably don't kick the tires on that because Tyrann Mathieu might still have a pretty healthy tag. I don't know, but he might have a pretty healthy price tag. You're better off trying to re-sign a guy like Edmonds, if I'm being completely honest. Or you're better off looking for a guy in free agency that's not going to cost as much, or drafting a guy in that position. Because, again, I think Tyrann Mathieu is still probably going to, require pretty decent, pretty sizable, contract. And you got to pay Minkah. And it's, do you want to tie your money up like that on both of your safeties? I think you can get a guy like Edmonds back. I don't know if Edmonds is going to have a big, market out there. I think you can make that work. I think you can talk Edmonds into staying, pay him a little bit, but I think you can keep Edmonds. You know what I'm saying? I think you keep him in the fold, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. I know some of you guys don't like him, as he's not a playmaker and all that, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Edmonds has played better. Edmonds, to me, has gotten better in his career. I think Edmonds had a relatively solid season. Whether y'all want to admit it or not, let's at least say this: we saw Edmonds in more pass coverage situations this year where he wasn't as bad as he was before. We saw some PBUs from him. We saw some very nice tackling out of him, at times. I think he got better. And I think you keep that together. I think him and Minkah kind of feed off of each other. And he's not going to be as expensive. So that would be my take. I don't know if you go out there and spend a lot of money on another safety knowing that you have to sign Minkah. It's going to make it a little tough. Let's see. One other thing I have here, guys. Juju, speaking of Juju, he said that it will depend on who's at the quarterback position, will affect how he feels about remaining in Pittsburgh. Now, that is interesting. That's interesting. Because Juju knows, man, listen, Juju remember he expressed that he wanted to get more opportunities on the outside. I'm pretty sure Juju wants to get back to being a guy that can, definitely make some noise downfield, right? Whether that be in the slot or outside. He feels like he could add more value, definitely in the seams, and we hadn't seen a lot of that. Even when he was in the game, and the couple times that we saw it, Ben tried to hit him in the Green Bay game, overshot him. So I'm just saying, man, this is going to be a very interesting offseason with these negotiations, man. You know, it might end up that they have to choose between Deontay and Juju. And that's going to be very interesting. And I'm sure the fan base is not going to be happy either way that goes. But you guys got to look at this thing from a business standpoint. To me, again, I'm going to keep saying this. Juju Smith-Schuster is Hines Ward of this era in terms of everything he brings to the table. Me personally, you keep a guy like that on your team if you can. Deontay Johnson is uber talented. I would love to keep him in the fold. I'd hate to see that talent go somewhere else. Y'all remember how much time myself and Kenyon and others spent watching and learning Deontay Johnson when we drafted him. To most of us, we didn't know who he was, but we started looking at his tape and breaking down stuff and saying, oh, this dude can be this. He's kind of turned into that. He just has issues being consistent catching the football. But if I had to choose right now, man, I mean, if it came down to it, I don't think you let a guy like Juju, based off of everything he is, personality and all, it's hard to let a dude like that out the building. Juju did all of the grunt work, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but we'll see. It all depends on the type of offense that we plan to run. And again, you know, if they chose Deontay Johnson over Juju, I wouldn't be upset. I mean, again, it's business, guys. But we'll see. We will definitely see. Let's get to the phone calls, man. Let's get to the phone calls, and then after that, I will come back and give you guys my final thoughts on what I put there in the title of the video, what I anticipate the offseason moves will be. I see we got a lot of calls in the queue. Come on, let me just say this now. Y'all know what I'm gonna say. Let's be quick, guys. Let's be quick. State your biz, in and out. Right now, I'm looking at 10 calls. It might be more than that. So, in and out. Don't make me have to hit the pause. Don't make me have to hit you with the 2-minute warning. I need you guys to be in and out. But before we do that, we do have a donation from Steeler Lee. Round of applause. Steeler Lee says, what I've noticed is once Deontay has a bad play, he has a hard time shaking it off to redeem himself. Woof. Yeah, man, and that's definitely not a good thing. You need people who have short-term memory. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting. It's interesting because, again, like I always, say, the highlight watchers, those fans probably won't understand the Steelers signing Deontay or Juju, because there's going to be the people that say, why would you re-sign him? He's da-da-da-da-da. And then on the Deontay side, why would you let him go? Da-da-da-da. But they don't look at the nitty-gritty. They don't look at all of the ins and outs. So it's going to be a very interesting thing. But all right, man, let's get into these phone calls. Again, guys, please keep them short, man. There's a lot, and I want everyone to get in. And if I'm being transparent and honest with you guys, I can't sit here all night. I have a family. All right, first up, Mr. Winningham, area code 803. What you got for us, sir?
Good evening. The 2022 Steelers offensively are going to need a veteran, 2-3 veteran presence on that offensive side. We really don't have the leadership right now on that offensive side to go into 2022 with. I love Juju Smith-Schuster. He is the embodiment of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It shocked and elated me. I was elated when I found out he was going to be ready for the playoff game. But we do need a veteran receiver in the locker room. Maybe not for his playing time, but to settle down guys like Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. They fell off the face of the earth at the end of the season. I feel that if we're going to keep Matt Canada, and I was very disappointed, we went into the playoff game with house money and the offense did not show anything. The defense for 20 minutes dominated But if we are to have a Matt Canada, I probably think a Mitchell Trubisky or a Nick Foles. Nick Foles for his veteran leadership to bring in a guy like a Malik Willis or a Mitchell Trubisky because he is a good scrambler, almost in the Josh Allen mold. Defensively, we're going to have to get faster, and faster. I would love for us to have a third safety, so we can bring Evans down in the box. You know, it's almost like a boxing analogy. You want your defense to flow, back, left, right. Excuse me. But thank you so much, and have a great night.
Man, thank you, Mr. Winningham. Always appreciate you. Great points right there. And just to chime in on one of them, Nick Foles probably wouldn't do us any good. That takes the mobile thing out of the equation. But Trubisky, listen, I know people probably trashing Trubisky, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna trust the organization to where if they brought in a Mitch Trubisky and they thought they could get something out of him, we'll see. Because like you said, he can run. You know, I don't know how good a quarterback he is. If I'm being transparent, I didn't watch a lot of Bears tape. You know, from what I have seen out of him, he's had moments. But I honestly don't know how good or bad he is. But, yeah. And just to add on to what you said, I said it, you know, after the game. But honest and truly, man, the offense just let us down. You know, the defense fought hard, like you said, that first 15 to 20 minutes. But it was just a matter of time, man. It was a matter of time that you're not going to hold the Chiefs. We needed to take advantage of getting those stops. Again, I remind you, for some of you guys who didn't see the post-game show, the Steelers were 3 and out. They went 3 and out on 5 of their first 7 drives. And mind you, through the first quarter, the score was 0-0. And there was a point where the Steelers were up 7-0. You cannot continue to go 3 and out against the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's why they lost. Next up, area code 202. What you got for us?
Hi. Haven't called in for a long time. Busy with work after getting back home and all that stuff. But I couldn't miss this occasion because it's just the end of the season for us. And I have to give my 2 cents. I know a lot of people make points about Tomlin and nauseam, and I know this is a topic that we discuss a lot already, but I just want to put my 2 cents in because I think the points that I'm going to make is going to make people might have some relation to how we're going to build this team in the future. So Tomlin, we know he has his flaws, he has his good points, but the one kind of comment that irks me, I was watching this Steelers live stream on YouTube during the match against Cleveland, and it was Big Ben's last home game at Pittsburgh, as we know. And it was kind of, and the guy, Joey Wagner, who's a good commentator, but actually said that at the end of the game, said Tomlin should be thankful that Big Ben has been carrying him and helping him to get to the record of not having a non-losing season for all those 15 seasons. And I'm like, okay, there's some truth to that, but I think it kind of gives Tomlin a bit little too less credit, even though the commentator said that Tomlin actually is a good coach, not a great coach, because I feel like Tomlin does have his merits in terms of motivating the players, and actually has shown some X's and O's and having the temperature, understanding the vibe of the locker room. And I believe if he didn't have those qualities, we wouldn't be 9-7-1. We'll probably be 6-11, as I had predicted in the preseason. And and of course, Tomlin has his flaws in game management, being stubborn in times and time management. But a lot of flaws that people would criticize Tomlin are things that we're not sure how much input he has, such as input to draft and personnel, input to hiring the coordinators, input to style of play. I think when we look about the Steelers' flaws, we have to look at in an organization as a whole. I understand that many might see that Ryan Clark's criticism some weeks ago of the Steelers having an organization failure of finding a successor to Big Ben is kind of an overreaction, but there's truth to it because I feel like there are a number of things the organization has been too stubborn to change. They have been cheap on scouting. They've been cheap in hiring coordinators, and they might be a deterrent in terms of how they draft or in terms of personal input. So my point is this to 2022. Basically, I think we know what we know, and we don't know some of the things behind the scenes. So because of what Tomlin did with Big Ben without Big Ben in 2019, able to rally this team to 8-8, with a good defense, I think Tomlin deserves to have at least a year or two to coach this team and to prove himself that he could coach without Big Ben. Now, also, I think Matt Canada, despite the fact of his inability to coach this offense to the strength of this team, deserves another chance, at least a year, but with a short leash, implementing his vision of an RPO with a quarterback to his liking. And obviously,
sorry, buddy, I had to jump in right there. We got to keep it shorter than that, but no disrespect to you, but we gotta keep the call shorter. But I want you to hang on the line because I do want to reply to what you said. Yes, I definitely agree with the Matt Canada part. Let's see what else he can do with another quarterback. But with Tomlin, I think what you said is completely fair. Which side of the spectrum people fall on, I think it's completely fair. You have to look at this from an organizational standpoint, because here's the thing that cracks me up, right? And this might be able to say this for more than just Tomlin, even other coaches at other organizations. Some of the same people that say it's Tomlin's fault, I've seen those same people talk about this player, that player, that player, and that player not being good. This guy sucks. Da-da-da-da-da. So now you're expecting the coach to completely be to blame for how trashed a player is. That's not all on the coach. Like you said, that's organizational. And none of us know whose hand is where. But you have to include the Rooneys and how they spend their money or lack thereof. TJ broke that mold. Kevin Colbert, scouts. I mean, everyone is culpable when it comes to how good a team is. To me, the coach is responsible for cultivating his troops. And I don't know if people can say that Tomlin is not good at that. Any other criticism you have at him, that's fine. But I think it's fair what you said, man. I agree with that. I mean, listen, if they don't renew Tomlin's contract after the new extension expires, okay, let's move on. Let's see who else can come in here. And that's it. Real quick, man. Donation from Mount Mooch. He says, how do you feel about signing J.C. Jackson? I take him. I like J.C. Jackson, man. He's shown that he can play. So I take him. But again, it's going to be tricky because how do the Steelers feel about Okello? Are they going to be looking to re-sign him? You're going to need at least one guy to replace Joe Hayden more than likely. So, yeah, J.C. Jackson in the mix, I'll take that. I really like his game. Let's keep it moving, guys. Next up, and thank you, 202. Again, nothing personal with me having to move on. It's just, come on, guys. Y'all just got to keep it a little shorter because we've got a bunch of phone calls here, man. Next one, area code 484. What you got for us?
What's going on, Sim? I just want to say I listened to Mike Tomlin's presser earlier on, and I was real disappointed with the fact that it seems like now I'm going to say it's probably 80% confirmed that Matt Canada is going to be back. And I'm one of the people who really didn't want him back. I actually called in a couple weeks ago and stated my points for that. But I have a question for you. I'm wondering, what have you seen from Matt Canada this season that would make you want to give him another chance with a different quarterback? Because everything that I've seen so far this season, I think Alex Kozora posted a stat on Twitter this morning. Our final 9 games of the season, in the first quarter, we've only scored a total of 9 points.
Yeah.
You know, that's terrible. That's historically terrible. There's another stat out there. I think there was a point in the season where there was 5 straight games where we didn't score a touchdown in the first half. So I mean, as an offensive coordinator, I feel like you have to give me some type of sign that things are going to get better. And I haven't seen not a single sign as a fan. Now, I don't have access to the All-22. I can't watch the film or anything like that. I know you do. So I'm asking you, have you seen any signs from Canada, or what signs have you seen from Canada that will make you feel confident that he can improve this offense going forward?
Man, good question. Good call. Thank you for that. And I will reply really quick. I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. What I've seen from Matt Canada, not in the NFL, is what will allow me to give him another season to prove himself. Some of the things you've seen in these other offenses that he's run and how productive they were. Some of those, some of the RPO game that includes the running quarterback, his formations, his shifting, a lot of that stuff, right? But here's the thing that's tricky. If you guys remember, did this offense look that much different than it did last year? And the reason why I bring that up is, who was the offensive coordinator last year? Randy Fichtner. Who was the offensive coordinator this year? Matt Canada. And it looked very similar, right? So it makes me believe Matt Canada when he said, again, at the beginning of the season, we'll be running plays that Ben Roethlisberger is comfortable with. I believe that happened because the 2 years looked very similar. Matt Canada, in my opinion, he did add a few wrinkles. And I talked about him after the game. I can't identify them all right now, but we saw little wrinkles in the offense. We was like, oh, okay, that's different. But the base offense was more of the normal Ben Roethlisberger that we've been seeing the last 4 or 5 years. So that alone is what would allow me give him another shot. That's all I'm saying. Because traditionally, I'm just not the type that. And here's another proof. And I'm mad that I'm going down on this tangent. But here's proof, guys, that I don't have allegiance to quarterbacks. To coaches. Like people say, oh, you just love Tomlin. No. There's no reason for me to love Matt Canada, but as you see, I'm willing to give him another shot too, because I can't make a determination on somebody off of one season, especially when the offense looked eerily similar to what it looked like last year. That leads me to believe that, okay, maybe he is running with Ben once. You see what I'm saying? But point well taken, though, man. Matt Canada, I still feel like he could have done more, even with his limitations. But I'm willing to see what he's got, man. Because again, you keep trying to replace people. That's how you end up like those teams that can't never have success, because they're always changing their head coach or their coordinators year after year. I don't want to become that type of team for our Steelers. Appreciate the call, though. Area code 412, what you got for us?
Hey, Sim, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, hey, it's Smitty from Pittsburgh. Overall, I thought this was a successful season. You got young people in the playoffs to experience postseason play, and hopefully they will want not to experience that taste again. And also, man, you said everything that I was about to say with Matt Canada. I seen Matt Canada in Pitt because I live in the city, and he took Nate Peterman. We remember how bad he was in the NFL and made that the most high in scoring offense. So yeah. I just say let's give him a chance, because I've seen his formation and his throwback screens and everything. What I really want to get your opinion on is Kevin Colbert. I don't think we'll see, or we should even think about what the Steelers going to do until what Kevin Colbert does. Is he going to retire or is he going to stay? I think he's going to retire, but your two options most likely is going to be Brandon Hunt and Omar Khan. Honestly, my opinion is I would like to keep them both, but that's not going to happen because Omar Khan, I believe, got interviewed with Chicago, and he's about to leave. Omar Khan's probably the best cat man in the NFL.
Yeah.
But Brandon Hunt's the guy that got you the Mika Fitzpatrick trade, and he's a better scout guy. So I personally won't want Brandon Hunt, and if Omar does leave, I don't really like this rule, but he's a minority coach. He will get you 2 third-rounders, one for this draft and one for the next draft, so that gives you more room to play with. But who would you like to see take over? Brandon Hunt, because he's more aggressive with his style and to convince the Roonies to get Minka and give up their first-round draft pick. I'm thinking he'll do more for the offseason and get these mid-rounders and maybe more of a splash free agency because he's more of a younger guy and he's open to trying new risks. Or do you want Omar Khan, who's your tradition guy that's been there before Tomlin, actually, since 2001? I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Oh man, Smitty, man, that's a great question. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't really keep my eyes on like GMs and things like that. Obviously, I'm familiar with Omar Khan and with Hunt as well, being still a fan, just like Smitty was. If I had to choose between the two of them, actually I would go with Hunt because of what you said. I want a guy that can identify talent like that and be aggressive. Because that's one thing that had been missing from we ain't never had seen that from the Steelers organization. Until the Devin Bush thing and the Minka trade, like we all would sit here and say, well, you know how they do. Now, not taking anything away from Omar Khan. I mean, you need a guy that know that cap too. But if I had the way I would prefer it, I want that guy that does aggressive things like, let's go get Minka. And it has paid off, in my opinion. We needed somebody like that to solidify the back end. So I would rather that style of guy. But again, me personally, guys, I don't know GMs and who's the next prospective GM. And the reason why you guys have heard me say Louis Riddick, he's been in that capacity. But just listening to how he talks and how he breaks down what he would do, like that to me sounds like a dude that knows what he's talking about. That's why I was like, I like how he talks about what you need to do for this player, that organization. Sounds like a guy that can get the job done. But other than that, I don't even know who the candidates are, to be honest. But just answering Smitty's question, I'd rather go with Hunt because of his style. Real quick, guys, before I grab the next call, and I got to agree with Smitty, man. I think you guys are being unfair to Matt Canada when you say stuff. I saw somebody there in the chat said he has no creativity. You don't, listen, none of us will ever know how true this is, but you don't just lose that. If he was doing this stuff in college, there's no way he don't have that now that he's in the pros. So me personally, I could be dead wrong. He could be the OC in 2022, and we're coming back here at the same time next year, and I'm saying, man, he ain't show us nothing. But as it stands here today, I tend to believe that it's more so because of the guy that was the quarterback. And I'm not beating up on Ben. I'm just saying, I cannot say the man is not creative. Y'all ain't gonna sit here and say that y'all didn't see some creative plays out of Matt Canada throughout the season. We saw him here and there, but you see what I mean? I think you're being a little too harsh on him in just one season. But, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Next up, area code 214. What you got for us?
All right, Sam, this is Brent again from Dallas, Texas.
What's going on, Brent?
Got a few things. Hey, man. Just got a few things here. I wanted to thank you personally, Sam. I appreciate, again, you giving us a voice here. I also appreciate the positive atmosphere. And more importantly, I appreciate the Steelers' extended family members, each and every one of them, man. It makes it that much better. few suggestions that I'd just like to go over is just maybe we could do an Ask Kenyon column as far as like looking at draft picks. If that's okay with Kenyon.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's fine with it. I can tell you right now, he's fine with that.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, we also want to take a sneak peek into like free agency and, you know, maybe speculate or ponder who stays and who goes. I'd like to keep Terrell Edmonds personally myself. He's a very solid player. And more importantly, he's got a good chemistry with Minka. And then the theme for the 2021-2022 season was, for me, it was pray for the best but be prepared for the worst, or we were who they thought we were, and that's bad. So those were my little thoughts, Sim. I appreciate you giving me time to speak, man.
Man, no doubt about it. And I appreciate you guys, you in particular, and like you said, all of the extended family members, man, because y'all don't have to do that. And the fact that y'all do, I mean, me saying I appreciate it is really an understatement. But love, love, love. But yeah, man, definitely. I'm sure Kenyon is up to that. I'm sure Kenyon is going to give y'all a piece of that when we do the Still Table, probably next week. And yeah. You know, if Kenyon, I know he's cool with it, but just for sake of argument, if Kenyon is cool with doing that, you know, maybe once or twice a month leading to the draft, we'll pop in and maybe see who we feel like is going up and down the board and things like that. And yeah, so look out for that, man. I'm sure Kenyon don't have no problems doing that. But yeah, man, it was one of those things, you know, the season. I think we all should have seen this coming like by week 7. It's really amazing that the Steelers, you know, fumbled their way or stumbled their way, I guess you would say, into the playoffs. It's amazing. You know, speaking of the offense, like Alex Kazur pointed out, and this is why I love what those guys do over there. I don't have the capacity to do that. But, man, this offense was worse this season, scored less points than last year. Abysmal. Like, this offense was one of the worst historically for the Steelers. How in the world does that team get to the playoffs? How do they win 9 games? How do they not go under 500? It's amazing. Next up, area code 505. What you got for us?
Hey, what's up, Sim? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
I'm sick and tired. I am sick and tired of the fan base bashing Matt Canada, because the offense, in my opinion, it's not a Matt Canada problem, and it wasn't as much of a Ben problem as they say it is. I'm gonna tell you what the problem was. It was a personnel problem. Okay, I cannot count how many times I've seen a free rusher hit Ben Roethlisberger, and you thought that us making the playoffs was a miracle. I'm gonna tell you what was a bigger miracle: Big Ben not leaving the field on a hospital cart. That was the real miracle.
Yes.
Okay, I cannot count how many times there was a free rusher hit him in the face. The offense was just out routes, curls, and then every deep ball that we threw, it was right off the line. And you can't get mad at Ben for that. I mean, you know what? Look at this. Remember when the Broncos went on that run in the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning in his last year? He was an absolute corpse. He was a corpse, and they still won the Super Bowl. Big Ben was way better than that. Big Ben, a quarterback in his last year, Big Ben was not bad at all. He is far from the problem, and Matt Canada is not the problem. I loved how we did the end arounds with Chase Claypool and all that stuff. He is definitely a good OC when it comes to that. Very creative, in my opinion. And now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we should not be focused on the quarterback position. We need to build the offensive line and the defense, and then look for a quarterback. Because what these terrible franchises do is that they draft the quarterback and they think that he's going to fix all their problems. Remember, Bradshaw and Ben are the only two quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round by the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I just think that we have a whole lot more to work on before we find a quarterback. That's all I got, Sim. Thank you.
Man, thank you for the call. I really, really appreciate that. And, I won't, I don't guess it's a need for me to I can't speak. It's not a need for me to beat the same dead horse, but I'll just lightly tap it. This is what I'm saying. I really don't think Canada is the problem. I mean, let's see. I mean, if he's the problem next season, then I think that's enough. That's enough for you to assess it. I just don't think it's enough for us to truly assess what Matt Canada is this past season. What have I been saying all season? There's multiple reasons why the offense wasn't that good. Ben Roethlisberger at times wasn't as consistent as he could be, but a lot of times he wasn't getting as good a protection as he could. Couldn't move as much. Might have been hindered by an injury or two, right? And like my man said, a lot of times we saw free rushes coming right at Ben Roethlisberger. Trey Turner hasn't been great. Kendrick Green definitely has not been great. Chooks played better than I thought. But was he great? No. Dan Moore played better than I thought. Got better over the season. But you see what I'm saying? There's a multitude of reasons. And some of that is Ben Roethlisberger as well. Again, running the style of offense that he wants. I'm going to show you guys a play at the end of this. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm going to show offense. Well, no, yeah, I'm right. There is a play that I'm going to show you at the end of this show that shows you Ben is predetermined in a lot of his reads. And it just is what it is, man. And again, that's not a shot at Ben. It's just that's what it has grown to be. And like 505 said, Ben wasn't horrible. Ben had his moments, but clearly, Ben just couldn't throw the ball outside the numbers the way he once could. The ball was short a lot. And I'll give Ben that respect. The man is 39 years old. He's been battered and beaten. It's just his time. 18 seasons in the league. We got a couple donations, man. Let me go back and grab them. Let me give a round of applause to What the Had Soul and Shadow Slayer. Round of applause. All right, he says, man, when you start off like that, man, been the issue with holding the offensive back. The offense was built for him, and a pass-heavy offense, the old line was built to pass block. Yeah, I think there's some merit to that, man. Again, Ben loves to throw that ball 50 or more times. So, there you have it. Shadow Slayer says, Sim, what do you think about Adam Steele and Offseason Productions? I like both because they have knowledge of football and Steelers information. Yeah, I like Adam. Adam is a little different in terms of, his whole delivery and everything, but I like Adam Steele a lot. Me and him, I've talked to him several times on Twitter, as well as Offseason. Offseason Productions does a great job, with the film breakdown and things like that. Definitely go check those guys out, man, if you guys are not familiar. Like I said, Adam is more of I don't know how to say it. He's more of an entertainer, if you will. But still gives great points. But he's more of the, he's on Twitter fooling and joking around with fans and getting at other people's, other teams' fans. And like I said, he's more of the entertainer style, but there's still good value in what he does, even when he talks about the game and things of that nature. Definitely a different style than I have. And Off-Season Productions is more of the on the field type of, breaking down plays and things like that. So definitely recommend checking both of those guys out. We have another donation here before I get back to the phone calls. With another one. He says, some of my fellow Steeler fans treat Ben like he's Jordan or Brady. Some wanted a Kobe send-off when he got that Paul Pierce. Yeah, man. I don't know. Listen, I think Ben Roethlisberger was a great quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. whose, level of play diminished over his last few seasons. And that just is what it is. Definitely no disrespect to Big Ben. But all right, guys, let me get back to the phone calls and let me see. We have how many left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 calls, guys. We got to be quick. All right, let's do it. First up, 470. What you got for us?
Hi, this is a 12-year-old again from last week. Do you think Juju Smith-Schuster will stay with the Steelers for next season?
We shall see. And thank you again for calling back. I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but I remember you from last week. If I remember correctly, you are a female because it was a female name. I don't want to assume that though, and it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to connect with you a little bit. But yes, thank you again for calling, man. I really appreciate that because you be tuned in. I do believe that Juju wants to be back. It's hard to say if he will because, again, the way football works, it's a business. I know a lot of times as fans, we want every player to stay and we want every player to sign with us in free agency and all of that. But it's a business. Juju is going to make whatever decision is best for him. He wants to be in Pittsburgh, but monetarily it's going to have to match, what he wants. So we'll see. I think he will be back, though. I kind of feel like the Steelers are going to do what they can to get him back. And I kind of feel like that's the reason why he did sign that 1-year deal, understanding that the cap situation would be better for the Steelers this offseason. So I kind of think he's going to be back, and we shall see. But thank you for your call. I really appreciate that. Area code 951, what you got for us?
Hey, thanks for having me, man. This is Yup out of Temecula, California.
Oh, yeah, what's going on?
I'll make it quick. Man. So I know there's been debate about whether the Steelers are going to sign, with that top-tier free agent quarterback like a Russell Wilson, AR, or even Deshaun Watson if he's available. But in my opinion, man, if they can just get like a basic quarterback that can get the ball down the field, that can make smart decisions with the ball and build on the offensive line and spike up that defense and specifically get yourself a potential lockdown corner who can be left on the island, I think they can go far with that as far as this year. And that's all I got. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. Appreciate the call and, appreciate the length of the call. And you was very precise, very quick. I can't disagree with you at all, man. I agree with you right there. I don't think, obviously if they go free agent, this guy is probably more of the, for the moment. And, if we can get the defense back to where we can put a lid on the run, even this year's defense, had we been able to stop the run a little better, maybe you win another game or two, right? And maybe you keep yourself in the a better chance of winning some of those games that got away from us. Yeah, I don't think right now, if the guy isn't out there, I don't think you force it. I don't think you try to force, drafting one of these guys and turning them into your franchise guy unless you really believe that he can be that. But yeah, and again, I'm not advocating for this guy. I'm just thinking about his career. The Steelers could win football games with a Jacoby Brissett type of guy. Right? Now, does Brissett fit what Matt Canada wants to do? And see, guys, that's another reason why I'm saying if Matt Canada is retained, we have no idea really exactly what he wants to do. And I'm curious to see what type of offense that he really wants to put a stamp on. And it's going to be very telling, in my opinion, based on the free agent, if they get a free agent, and based on who they draft, if they draft. That's going to be very telling because as much as I said, the draft will determine whether it's Mason Rudolph or not necessarily. Depending on who they draft. And if this dude fits the mold more, you never know. But yeah, I don't think we need the world beater right now to win. we could probably buy ourselves some time, bolster get the defense back under control, get that offensive line locked and loaded. And then 2023 is another year. There's some other quarterbacks that's looking like they might be nice by that time. So there you have it. Next up, area code 859. What you got for us?
What up, Sam? This is Carmichael. I got an unpopular opinion, of course, but Canada coming back for the simple reason that they didn't change the route concepts. They kept Fittner's route concepts, but changed the run game. So, of course, the production ain't what it's supposed to be because the route concept has been the same for the last 4 or 5 years. So, of course, and then they drafted Deontay for that exact reason, to run short routes and beat this man one-on-one. So, yeah, but Juju should be the man they bring back because he's willing to do the dirty work. So the blocking, the stuff that finesse receivers don't really do well. So I say bring back Juju, but Tomlin deserves a trophy for taking his team to the playoffs this year because there's no way they had any business being close to the playoffs, and that's just mainly because of the personnel didn't fit the scheme, mainly being, just like Tomlin said, you got red paint, you paint the barn red. And it's really that simple. So I know a lot of people don't want to bash Ben, and I almost named my son Benjamin Todd. So you can't tell me nothing about Ben that I don't know. But it was time, and thank goodness, because this is about to be the most exciting offseason we've had in a long time. Excuse me. But I just wanted to say thanks, Tim, for giving me a voice, and have a good night, brother.
Man, thank you for that call, man. And you have a good night as well, my brother. Yes, this is going to be one exciting offseason, man. And yeah, listen, I trust me, I get it. I'm with you guys in theory as far as, man, Matt Canada got to go. I understand why y'all are saying that. But if we just sit and think for a moment, what my man 859 just said, and similar to what I said earlier, nothing really changed much from Fichtner to Matt Canada, right? I believe that's more on personnel, mainly the guy at the helm. And y'all know I love Big Ben for what he's been for us, but that says something to me. If you get two offensive coordinators and in back-to-back seasons, their offense is very similar with a slightly few wrinkles, that to me means that maybe you don't have the right guy to run the show. That I have acknowledged early on. Now, where I get on Matt Canada is I feel like he could have done a better job with his red paint. You know what I'm saying? That's where I criticize him. But good call, man. Next up, guys, we got still 5 calls in the queue. Please keep them short because I can't be here all night, man. I can't. Next up, 443. What you got for us?
Yo, what's good, Sam?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Not much. Just on one, man. Just calling. I just want to state this real quick, man. This is for Kenyon, and I know Kenyon is on, man, and he don't need me to state it, but I'm gonna state it for him anyway, man. A lot of y'all read or hear Kenyon say something that y'all wanted to hear, and you interpret it to fit your own personal narrative, and that's why a lot of y'all are called fair weather. Y'all do the same to the coaches. Y'all do the same to the players. So the fair weather word is Kenyon, so I'm gonna definitely let him have that. So I'm gonna just call y'all fickle. A lot of fickle fans in here every week on your show, man, and you try to school them, but they don't want to listen, so it just is what it is. The other thing is a lot of y'all in this chat talked about bringing in quarterbacks like Mitchell, Terrible Trubisky, or Andy Dalton, who the Steelers continue to smack around and make look horrible, and was one of the reasons why the Bengals couldn't go anywhere. And now y'all talking about bringing in a kid from the Ravens. Fickle. You know what all those players are? Exactly what Tomlin said about Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins. They are starters, but not everyday starters. Point blank, period. So, man, just continue to do what you do, Sim. Great show, man. I'm gonna get off your line. Have a great night.
Man, appreciate that call right there, man. And I'm sure Kenya appreciates you showing some love right there. But it is true. You know, people will do that. And you know, you guys know who you are. You build your own narrative. And one thing about me, man, just as a person, as a human, I try to just stay right here. You know what I'm saying? I don't stray too far away. My point is always my point. I don't change it. I acknowledge if maybe something happened and the way I thought it wouldn't, and I'd be like, oh, well, I didn't think that. But I always stay right there. I don't switch. What I've been saying all season about our team. Even when we got in the playoffs, I was like, You see what I'm saying? And that's how you guys should be. Like, all the flip-flopping is hilarious. Or like you said, you try to bend things to meet your narrative. Sometimes it's cool with having a different opinion. You know what I'm saying? But stick to yours. Don't try to twist somebody's words and all of that. Like, nah, don't do that. But like I said, man, this is you know, a judgment-free zone. You know, this is like the Planet Fitness of the Steelers channels, I guess. But you know, people in here in the chat, they will get you if they feel like you're going crazy. They will get at you. So. But all right, let me keep it moving. Man, y'all just keep calling. Now we got 6. Listen, I'm going to reduce the time right now to 1 minute. I can't be here all night. 334. What you got?
All right, man. What's up, Sim? Good show tonight. Since I have 1 minute, I'm always going to plus my list of goodies to come to Pittsburgh. Let's start off with Deshaun Jackson. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, Tomlin bringing him in. I don't care what you think, how you feel, how you see it. He's coming. We don't need no rookies over here. Next up, we bringing back AD. AD needs to be coming back because he's a fantasy. He's going to show the guys how to catch, how to make routes, perfect routes. Come on now. What you talking about? Stop talking about he got a mental problem. He got no mental problem. He just like to play crazy. Let's move on. Let's keep it moving. We need a center. We need a 5-star center, whether we're going to get a free agent or we're going to get him out the draft. And for that boy Green, y'all pick him. Y'all love him. I didn't care much for him. You're going to put him in guard or he's a bust. Which one you want to do? Which one you want to do? He's a guard or he's a bust. Come on, let's keep it moving now. Now, I'm glad what's the call is gone. Kelvin, the cornerback coach, will be the next DC for this defense. And I forgot his name. You know, he's out of here. He's retired. He's gone. So really, this team is Tomlin team now because we move in a big area now. And all of y'all who in love with being want to point the finger at Canada, stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. Paint the barn red. Paint the barn red, and I'll fix it.
Man, I always appreciate your call, man. Thank you for calling 334. Man, your perspectives be out there, but I love them. And this is what I'm talking about, just to respond to you. I think you probably meant Deshaun Watson. I think. You might have meant Jackson. I don't know. But again, Deshaun Watson, guys, obviously if Deshaun Watson gets cleared of all of the allegations, then we talking something. I mean, for the Steelers to not go after that kid, there's your mobility. I mean, come on. But we all know the cloud that's over him, so we can't really talk about him until they're really talking about him being able to, you know what I mean, get back into the fold. AB, though, that's where you lose me. Come on. I respect your opinion, though, so I'm not going to poo-poo it. I'm just saying. That ain't nah. I wouldn't even want that. After all of this fiasco, nah, I'm cool. 817, what you got?
Hey, Sim. How you doing, man?
Good. What's going on?
All right, I got 3 quick points, man. My first point about this offense. With these RPOs, you cannot have a successful run-pass option if you don't have a solid run game. You have to have a solid run game to get the defense on their toes and you have to have a solid run game to be able to get the nickel cornerback, whoever is on the RP, the pass option, to be able to bite in the box to be able to throw the bubble. That won't work. The RPOs will not work within a pistol formation with a non-mobile quarterback and without a successful run game. Second off, I have three guys in the free agency who people really aren't talking about probably. How do you feel about signing Teron Armstead, left tackle from the Saints, Quadre Diggs, and Bryce Callahan from the Broncos? And my last point is, I also say you start Mason Rudolph this year, and you draft linemen, DBs, and linebackers. This year should be almost like a preparation to draft your franchise QB in 2023, because you will already have the players for this draft and this free agency to be able to contend in 23 with your franchise quarterback coming out the draft. And that's all I got, Sim.
Man, great call, man. Let me be quick with my responses. You are absolutely correct, sir. If the running game is not working, RPO action, it just ain't gonna happen. And like you said, part of the RPO, a lot of times with the real consistent offenses that run it, the quarterback is a part of that run option. You know what I mean? Because you can mix a little read into that. It's the quarterback, the running back, and whoever you might hit on your hot. So you are correct. I wouldn't disagree with any of those free agents, to be honest. If they, Armstead definitely. If you can find a solidified offensive lineman, I haven't watched him forever, but I know who he is. If you can get you a solid offensive lineman in free agency, let's do that. Because, the draft could be hit or miss. Callahan, that's a corner. He plays pretty decent out in Denver. Again, I admit I don't always know details on all of these players once they're on other teams. And, we all know about Quadre Diggs. So I wouldn't be opposed to any of that, man, to try to get the team better in certain positions. So, great points, great calls. I'm sure, some people may disagree with some of what you said, but I'm not opposed to any free agents that could come help this team out in areas where we need help. Next up, area code 480. What you got for us?
Hey, Sim, I got a few quick points to make. I think goal line is something we should address in free agency. There's a ton of good guards, tackles too. There's that guard from Washington. He's going to be a free agent. We got a lot of cap space to work with. I had a few questions for personnel. What do you think about Anthony McFarland? I know you're really high on him, but 2 seasons in, he's produced almost nothing. So what's your optics on him? What about Zach Banner? What are your thoughts on him? You think we bring him back? I think he's a free agent. I'm not sure. But what do you think? And lastly, Stephon Tuitt, what are your thoughts? Thank you.
Oh, man. Oof. Thanks for the call, 480. I'll be brief. Anthony McFarland, I'm starting to lose a little bit of my optimism for him. This is a reach, but maybe if the offense significantly changes, McFarland will have a more significant role. I am concerned, though, that he couldn't get a helmet on most weeks, even after he was cleared of injury. It's very concerning. Remember, a guy like Kalen Ballage was active most weeks. Benny Snell was the next man up. I'm not opposed to that, but McFarland, I'm not as optimistic about him unless Canada has plans for him next season. We'll see. Zach Banner, if you can get him back, I think he's back in the same situation he was this year. He's going to be cheap. So maybe the Steelers extend their hand to him again to give him another shot, and we'll see. But yeah, it was somebody else you mentioned, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the third person there. I thought it was someone else you mentioned, and my bad, I can't remember who that was, but those are my thoughts on those guys. All right, guys, we got 3 calls remaining. Please keep them quick so I can get my last wrap-up point of the show and get out of here. Area code 416, what you got for us?
Well, how you doing, brother? You good?
Good. What's going on?
I'm good. I want to ask you a question. I'm going to keep it quick because I know you got your family to deal with and things, right? But how do you feel, what type of impact do you think Joe Burrows, Baker Mayfield, and Lamar Jackson will make on Tomlin's decision of what type of quarterback he's going to draft? Because we got to do something with the division. It's one thing to look at what what Kansas City's doing, what Buffalo is doing, with Mahomes and Josh Allen, but we got to do something for a division. And I see a trend going on, and without an elite quarterback, So what do you think? What do you think? Based on how those guys are doing in our division, will determine what we do.
Yeah, man, good question. Appreciate the call. As I sit here today, some people probably gonna laugh at this, but I think Joe Burrow would be, if you're Mike Tomlin, right, and you're looking at the division, I think he prefers a Joe Burrow that can still light you up passing the football, make sound decisions as it seems, shows some accuracy, can get the ball down the field, but he can move in the pocket. He's mobile. See, I don't want people to lose sight of a running quarterback versus a mobile quarterback. Justin Herbert, mobile. Patrick Mahomes, mobile. Russell Wilson, even at his older age, mobile. Aaron Rodgers, mobile. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people probably would say, nah, man, you crazy, Lamar Jackson. Nah. I don't think that's the prototype that they're looking for. Because Lamar, to me, still has to become an elite passer. Super athlete. Love Lamar. But right now, I might take Joe Burrow. Baker Mayfield, I'm cool. And unfortunately, that's what Sam Howell kind of reminds me of Baker. So I'm not as high on Sam Howell anymore. Me and Kenyon was kind of big on him last season. So that would be my assessment, man. I think if they had their way and they were only looking at the AFC North, they would probably try to find someone more so like a Joe Burrow, whether he's a little more mobile than him or not, but it would be kind of in that mode, a guy that can do both, mobile enough to get out of situations. So that's how I would see it. Area code 404, what you got for us?
Hey, Sam, how you doing, man? I don't see them getting a quarterback, a pretty good, I guess, somebody like a Russell Wilson. I like the Jacoby Brissett thing. I think he's 29 years of age. I think with them coming back next year, I don't see them drafting a quarterback right now. I think they're going to depend on offensive line and defensive line. But my question now is what they're going to do with James Pierre and Joe Hayden. I don't want them to give up on James Pierre. I'm not a big Trey Norwood fan, but I want James Pierre to stay on the team. What do you think about that?
Oh, man, good question as well. James Pierre, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, and y'all can tell me in the chat. Is he a free agent? Is James Pierre a free agent? I'm not sure. How can I say this? If we've given Justin Lane this amount of years, then y'all said no. Y'all said he's not. Okay, so yeah, I want James Pierre back too, man, because I think James Pierre will be hungry this offseason. I mean, you see a guy in the Kello Witherspoon pretty much come and take your lunch, right? You was the guy. We were kind of high on you more so than Cam Sutton on the outside. And then all of a sudden you have a couple, bad moments and the coaches sit you down. And then this dude, Kello, finally is worthy of his 5th round draft pick, that trade. And he starts showing to be consistent. So I think Pierre's going to have a little chip on his shoulder. And that's only going to, I'm hoping, make him as a young guy. He got a taste of it. It was right there, and now he's going to shoot for it. So, yeah, I definitely want him back on the squad, especially if he's not a free agent. Yeah, a lot of you guys saying he's not. So, yeah. Now, Kello is a free agent, so that might determine it too. If they can't re-sign him, then, of course, they're going to keep Pierre. But, yeah, I'm with you. One other thing I wanted to mention, man, that I think it was 480. Tuitt was who he was asking me about. Let me speak on Tuitt real quick before I get the last call. Man, guys, did y'all see Cam's post game? Man, does he love Stephon Tuitt and Tyson Alu? I want Tuitt back just off of the sheer fact of how Cam Hayward was acting. That alone lets me know we need Tuitt back. However, Tuitt might be trade bait. I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that. If you can trade Tuitt and get value for Tuitt, I might pull that trigger. I'm not going to front. But we severely missed him, in my opinion. We missed him, and we definitely missed Tyson Alu. But, you know, we said we want to start being more aggressive, guys, right? Maybe Tuitt is the guy that you can consider trading if there's value there. But that's what I got on it. And speaking of Cam Hayward, real quick, I don't know how you guys, some of y'all was saying that he was saying he wanted out of Pittsburgh. I didn't get that at all from his post game. Did y'all see that? I didn't get that at all. I didn't get that at all. I heard a lot of we talking about next season. And again, Cam Hayward doesn't have the option to leave. But I don't know how y'all drew that conclusion. He never said anything about wanting to be out of, huh? Yeah, I'm confused, guys. Confused. But anyway, guys, last call of the night, 412. That means that is someone from the Pittsburgh area. So, you know, we always love that. 412, what you got for us?
Yo, what's up, Sim?
What's going on?
Brief on this last call. So, how you feel about if the Steelers had to move back in the draft? Like, what if someone won the 20th spot and we gave it up to get some more picks, maybe in the second round? And my last point is, who you want to win the Super Bowl? I want my boy Padford of the LA Rams to finally get over the hump and win it all. Thank you.
Man, thanks for calling, man. Ooh, that's a tough one there. It's tricky because of this. Who would I take in the first round if I went quarterback? Everybody knows it's probably a Kenny Pickett type guy, right? I gotta look at the board again to see. Honestly, I haven't watched enough film to have my projections, but I need to see where guys are projected to help me determine whether or not I would, you know, trade away that pick and move back. If perhaps the Steelers are not going after a quarterback in the first round, it's an option. But what if we talking about a guy like Tyler Linderbaum sitting right there? Nah, you grab him. We got enough picks. You know, and I mean, you never have enough. But again, it's so many factors that's going to determine that. What they do in free agency. Maybe in free agency, they plug a lot of holes. Remember that year? Well, it might have been last season when the Patriots got all of these guys in free agency. If the Steelers mess around and pluck off guys like that, then yeah, you can do some playing around in the draft. And then I'm not opposed to moving. But it to me, what draft talk always comes down to free agency. Once I see what we do in free agency, then I can start saying how I would prefer to move or how I would move in the draft if I were the GM. And as far as the Super Bowl, man, you know, I don't really have a preference of who wins. I think Green Bay is going to be tough. I think Mahomes and the boys are going to be tough. They look like they got their groove back. Buffalo against KC is going to be interesting. And yeah, I would love to see Matt Stafford, man, you know, go far and perhaps get a ring. That would be cool for Matt Stafford. I've always been a Matt Stafford fan. I was happy that he was able to get his playoff win finally. I think that dude, when he wants to and when he's on, Matt Stafford has an elite arm. I mean, I've seen so many people say how trash he was, you know, just because he had some bad moments in Detroit and they weren't winning. Y'all can say what y'all want. Matthew Stafford has an elite arm. When he's on, he is on. So yeah, it'd be cool for that. It'd be cool for Matt Stafford, man, and you know, to get himself a ring. But like I said, I don't don't really have anybody this year that I would like to see win. You know, if Seattle was in it, I would root for them because of Russell Wilson. If the Eagles was in it, I would root for them because it's another PA team. But other than that, I'm cool. I'm cool. I mean, it would be cool for the Bills to finally get them one after going to the Super Bowl 4 consecutive times. How crazy was that? But yeah, we'll see. I just hope it's a good game. You know, whoever makes it out, I just hope it's a good game. And watch out for those Niners. Watch out for them Niners. Remember I said that just keep an eye on the Niners. We got another donation, man, from Luis D. Appreciate you, buddy. Round of applause. He says, I saw Jameis Winston being a free agent. Wouldn't he be a better option for the Steelers? Also, rumor has it Derek Carr is on the trading block. Steelers? I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'll take Derek Carr. But here's the question. See, here's the question when it comes to the quarterback. What does Mike Tomlin and company consider as mobile? I think Derek Carr is mobile. I don't think Jameis Winston is mobile. You know, he never really was. You know, he can move a little bit, but even in Florida State, he never was, you know, man, he can get out of the pocket. But at this stage of his career, Derek Carr, yeah. Derek Carr to me is probably mobile enough. But that right there, too, is gonna help me decide who I think the Steelers might go after in terms of free agency. So, yeah, or trade. What do you give up for Derek Carr is the question. You know, that will be the question. Is he a first round, second round, a second and a third, or third and a fourth? You know, what do you give up? So it's all relative questions there, man. When we talk about trade, it gets tricky. But good stuff. All right, guys, let me just wrap this show up here. Let me talk about really quick, man, what I think the Steelers what I anticipate they will do in the offseason. This is early, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this. This is just early reaction immediately after the season. Definitely seems like Keith Butler will more than likely be retiring, so they're going to be in the search for a defensive coordinator. You know, is it going to be Terrell Austin? You know, is Tomlin going to take over the reins? Who knows? But it will be interesting to see another defensive coordinator to see what type of defense we employ. Because, again, man, the biggest problem in this defense in this last era has been a lot of the spot drops. And just spot dropping in the NFL, man, is just not a good thing. You know, again, I'm going to show you guys a play really quick before I end the show. In case the NFL sees it, I can chop that off and you would not have missed the show. But I'm going to show you something that the Kansas City Chiefs did against us, where this is what I always tell you guys. A lot of times, man, you have your standard coverages, but different philosophies. Teams run them different. Some teams run cover 2 base. Some teams do different things out of cover 2. 3, 4, 6, 9, you know, quarters coverage, palms, and all of that, you know, and special checks and all that. It's so many different things that coverages can turn into. Some teams run zone, but they do pattern matching. It's a lot of different variations. That's why sometimes when I'm looking at film, I have to really, really study it to figure out what's going on. Sometimes it's invert coverage. It's a lot of different things that goes on. But you just doing standard spot drops is like, ugh. And if you don't get no pressure, man, quarterback would tear you apart. And it was happening. Kelsey was finding a lot of vacant spots in that zone. I'm wanting to see a different approach, you know, and whether that's Mike Tomlin, you know, putting more of the Tampa 2 style in there and, you know, running some variations of that where maybe they can include some pattern match. I don't know, but I would love for another guy to come in and have his approach and allow it to be what he wants to run. And then we can see, you know, what's happening. We can see what's what. I just want to see a different philosophy out of the defense. I definitely anticipate them going after a free agent quarterback first and foremost. I think they would prefer to do that rather than draft a guy. If they go after a free agent, they're more than likely not going to draft a guy. Let's see what they do with Dwayne Haskins. I mean, Dwayne Haskins doesn't really cost them much. I heard Steelers Depot say this earlier. Shout outs to Dave Bryant, that they could probably just put a rights tender on him. Ain't going to cost nothing. Ain't nobody going to jump. You get him back in the building for nothing. You got Mason Rudolph already extended for this season, right? And then you bring in a veteran. There is no drafting of the quarterback. If they do that, I think, like some of you guys said here tonight, build the team. If you build it, they will come. Build the team and then go get you one of them boys in 2023. That's what I anticipate. Now, all of this could change because one thing that you guys have to always remember, we can say who we want in free agency. We can say who we want to trade for, but the player has some say in that too, you know. You never know what these other quarterbacks want to do. Do these guys want to be in Pittsburgh? How much money is Pittsburgh going to pay them? So I think they are anticipating going after a free agent. If they do that, don't expect them to draft a QB, especially no time early in the draft. And honestly, I would prefer them to do that. If we can do that and just solidify the team and we can build towards the future and then find the future QB, great. If not, maybe they bust their gun this year. Maybe they take a chance on Kenny Pickett if available. Maybe they take a chance on Matt Corral. You know, his injury didn't help. Maybe they take a chance on Malik Willis or whoever else will be available. You never know. But I'd rather them do that, man. Get a sturdy free agent, build the rest of the team, bolster the team up, and then we be ready to just plug in a franchise QB, and then we ready to win. So that's all I got, man. But that's all I anticipate at the moment. You know, this could change, of course. And again, you know, we're going to be talking a lot in the offseason, you know, with the steel tables and all of that. And just, you know, like I said, I'm going to try to, get my nose into the fold a little more and just bring more and more information to you guys to compensate for the loss of the post-game and the pre-game show. Obviously, we won't have that. But I think this is going to be a fun and interesting off season, man. I think for whatever reason, we're going to have a lot to talk about. So I look forward to it. But all right, guys, let me read a few comments, man. I might as well give you guys a few moments here and let's see what y'all got. Then we'll get up out of here. So let me have them. I'm going to close out Blog Talk right now. We no longer need that. And actually, hold on, guys. I haven't forgotten. Let me show you guys the video. Let me show you all the clip that I wanted to show you. And then we'll get into the chat. And let me just preface it by saying this. It's very possible that the NFL will see this and they will try to monetize my video. So if they do, just keep in mind from this point on, the video will be cut. All right? So I wanted to save this until last in case I got to come back and chop off the end of the video. But let me show y'all this play real quick. Let me pull it up. Y'all let me know that y'all can see it. So give me a virtual thumbs up. Let me know, can you guys see that? Can you guys see that? Whoa, let me fix it. Hold on. Why does it look like that? It's jacked up. Hold on, guys. Let me fix it. I don't know why it looks like that. Y'all are really being, and Nolan Rice, you being real hard on Deontay Johnson. I don't know, man. I just think a lot of us watch football a little differently. You talking about Deontay stealing money? Like, Deontay Johnson is not a bum. Like, did you watch this entire season? Did you watch the entire season? The boy balled out. Yeah, his drop problem started showing up again, you know, here in the late portions of the season. But I don't think, man, if you are a fan that has watched the game all year, I find it hard for people to act like Deontay Johnson has been a bum. I'm sorry, man. I just don't see how y'all see that. Like I said, I respect everyone's opinion, but I don't know how you come to that one. I don't. I will admit, it's hard to trust them in certain situations, but you can't sit here and say this dude was stealing money. And look, he's saying he's trash. Come on, Nolan. But all right, that's your opinion, so I'm going to back off of it. All right, you guys can see this, right? So here we go. This was first down. I'm going to skip to third down. Oh, actually, hold on. I'll show you all this too. This was the 2nd and 8. See how it got blown up right there? They sent 6 people. Check it out. It was just dead in the water. But here's the play I want to show you. Let's look at the next play. And again, extended family members, you're going to get good amounts of plays from this video in the all 22. All right, so let's back it up. So what are they showing you here? They got 2 high safeties. So this is looking like a cover 2 look, right? Whether it's cover 2 man or cover 2, zone. Their corners are playing very tight, basically in a press formation. Now, press doesn't always mean that you actually press or you actually bump. Sometimes it's just you in their face and you can play like a press bell technique, right? Watch what happens as the ball is snapped. All right, boom. And I'm sorry that I can't clear this junk out here, guys. My bad. But you see these guys are playing their zone areas. 2 high safeties. But look at the corners. They basically playing man on the outside. So because this is a zone, like I told you guys, there's different variations to run certain plays. They are playing this more like man, or they're basically carrying the vertical routes. See, and that could come from film study. See that? So this might have intended on being a regular cover 2 where maybe they play underneath, but the fact that they're playing press out of cover 2 and they're bailing immediately, it's almost like they know that the Steelers are going to go vertical and they're going to match the vertical routes. Look, they ain't playing the cover 2 zone at all as far as outside. But also look at what you see here. Why did we run 3 verticals? Remember I told you the route concepts? Look at this. Straight vertical routes. Vertical, vertical, vertical. The only thing we got underneath is this was either Muth or Gentry. I can't see the number. And you got Najee. And the Chiefs giving that to us. But the reason why this won't gonna work, watch how fast Ben goes to it. Watch. Has the ball, boom, looking outside immediately, right? But the reason why we're not going to complete this, these guys are playing the verticals tight. So there is no hole shot. Usually when there's a cover 2, right? That money shot is right between the corner and the safety. It's not going to happen in this case because he's playing a bell technique. And he's carrying the vertical. Look how tight that is. So it allows the safety to stay inside the numbers a little bit longer. He ain't really got to cheat over until the last minute because this is already covered. But this had 0 chance to convert. You see this? 0. Just look at the routes and look at how Kansas City is playing that, or as if they already know what the Steelers are going to do. One more time. Them boys carrying the vertical out of cover 2, bro. And this is what I be saying all the time, guys. There's different variations. I want the Steelers to get more into pattern matching or mix and matching. You can play zone underneath, man on the outside, and vice versa. I've seen some coaches run certain zones and they running man on the inside and zone in the outside. You can get very creative with defensive coverage. That's all I'm saying. But just showing you right there, man, how they came out and played that. and it had no chance. 3 vertical routes, 2 on the outside, 1 down the seam, and 2 guys in the flat. That had no chance. And you saw Ben took the hike, called himself looking off the safety, and he immediately goes for the shot. You see what I'm saying? So I show you guys that just to say this. That was that play call? See, that's what I'm saying. You got to look at Matt Canada. You got to look at Ben, because I go back to what Matt Canada said in the beginning of the season. I'm going to run the plays that Ben are comfortable with. And like I said, the approach that I have with Matt Canada is, to me, it's TBD in terms of what he really can be. Didn't have the best showing this season, but I will give him a chance with another quarterback to prove me wrong. But again, man, it's just showing you how some of these things come together, man, and it's just terrible. That was just terrible all around. Terrible all around. But all right, guys, quick. Give me a couple things to read off, and then I'll be done. Let's see. Mr. All Days Off says, Steelers just need to sign Brandon Cooks. Pair him with Deontay Johnson and Claypool. Okay. Virgin D says, Ben's throw was out of bounds. Crappy pass. Yeah. And Joshua Shield says, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Josh. How you doing, man? Joe Manick says, we need a young offensive mind. I'm cool with that. Yes, Leonard Green. Leonard Green says, predictable Ben on film. Yeah. And it's been this way a couple years. Again, remember, I'm not giving Matt Canada a pass, but this is the same stuff we saw last season. That's all. That's the only reason, if I'm being honest with y'all, that is the only reason I would say I would give Canada another season. Because I've seen 2 consecutive seasons with Ben playing this way, some of these same play calls, route concepts and all, and when Fichtner was at the helm, Canada was at the helm. To me, there's a common denominator. That's all. I could be dead wrong, but I'm just trying to explain to you guys why I'm viewing it that way. Somebody says Kellen Moore. Yeah, but what makes you think Kellen Moore is going to leave Dallas to be an offensive coordinator somewhere else? I don't see that. Susie M says, what happened with TJ Watt and the tie? There was the strip sack. Yeah, they considered that not to be a sack. I think that was dead wrong, but they considered that strip sack not to be a sack. So unfortunately, he only tied the record. Miss Sade says, Ben looked shell shook though. He hasn't trusted the line in quite some time. That is a big factor as well, Sade. And again, see, I don't think everybody looks at all of the factors. Let's see. Carmichael says, facts, painting the barn red. Same old Fichtner plays. Right? That's what it looked like to me. And again, guys, I'm not disagreeing with anybody who doesn't want Canada. I'm just saying, man, if you really look at these last 2 seasons, you didn't see much change. And I'm just saying, there's a common denominator there. Take that common denominator away, and then Matt Canada really got the X on him come next season. Man, we looking at you like this. What you doing? What you gonna do, bro? What you gonna do now? That's all I'm saying. He won't have that Ben Roethlisberger excuse. Marlon Nicholson says, we need to run more deep crossing post routes and attack down the middle more instead of the same old go routes for big plays. Absolutely. And also, guys, what you have to understand as well, like what Marlon is saying here, part of that is offensive line too. If we don't feel comfortable that these guys can protect, then we're not going to get as many of those deep routes. So it's a lot of factors that go along with that. But I fully agree with Marlon. I want to see more of that, man. Let's get creative with these, these nice, decent young receivers that we have. Stop running the same old. A couple more, guys. George Cardis says, we need a quarterback that throws over the middle. Love Ben, but it was rare that the ball would go there. Yeah. Excuse me. And there was opportunities, man, with Freiermuth that he was. I've showed those plays. The extended family members have seen them. I've showed plays where Freiermuth is wide open. Ben ain't even looking that way. He just automatically looking outside the numbers from the word go. Let's see. Charlie Brown, no, he's talking to Kenyon. What position do I think we go in the first round? I don't have enough information yet. Not yet. Let me do a little more research. Mr. ABS says Ben wasn't in a position to learn an entire new system. His backyard play is what we mostly saw, and that was good enough to remain above 500. Should be different next year with the right quarterback fit. That's all I'm saying too, Mr. ABS. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Angie, a.k.a. Baby Steeler, how you doing? Appreciate you, Miss Lady, coming through. Let's see. I'm going to read one more, then I'm out of here, guys. I gave y'all 2 hours tonight. Yup says he needs to see that shutdown corner in Pittsburgh. Would be nice, right? Would be nice. All right, here's one last one. Whoa. I don't know about that, Ruben Sanchez. He says we need to take a chance on John Gruden. It's a reach, but it might work. No. Guys, we can't deal with no controversy. No return of AB. John Gruden is going to be hard to touch right now with all the controversy around him. And like I said, Deshaun Watson, if he can get cleared of those allegations, it's a no-brainer. But until that happens. But all right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up right there. In case you guys haven't already, make sure, if you're new to the channel, go on and subscribe, man. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to the channel. And once you are subscribed, make sure you cut on your notification bell so you know when videos are up and running. Also, if you like what you saw here tonight, make sure you hit the like button. That's real easy. If you didn't like what you saw here tonight, hit the dislike button. That's easy as well. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a great remainder of the week. If there's any news that I need to share, I will jump on and do an impromptu video sometime this week. If there's any announcements or anything like that. But other than that, you can guarantee that you will see me on next Tuesday for Terrible Towel Tuesday once again. That will be the Still Table night with myself, Kenyon. Hopefully Tony can make it. But we'll basically just get our recap of the season, man, and give some light outlooks on what we want to see in the future. And then again, hopefully the ladies will reach out to me and they will let me know when they would like to come on and have their version of the Still Table as well. We always look forward to that. But other than that, man, guys, have a great week. Enjoy some football this coming week. Too bad we're not in it, but hey, we're still fans, right? We're still fans. And outside of that, like always, I'm definitely going to say, stay safe. God bless. Good night. And thank you for tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. Peace.